And welcome to Capital Talk, a program we hope will have an impact on the future of Kenya and the region. Now more than ever, I'm Jeff Kinang. Now if you've been watching The Bench all this week, you know what the theme is: Somalia. And coming in and out of this country the last couple of days, Somalian President Sheikh Sharif, Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni, South Sudan President Salva Kiir, and then you have to wonder, why didn't we invite the other regional powers? And especially the one they call the bad boy of the East, folks, Eritrea. Why aren't they in this being consulted, or at least talking to us? Well, you remember as far back as July, President Kibaki himself accused Eritrea of funding Al-Shabaab. That was categorically denied by the Eritreans. And then a few days ago, other reports that Eritrean planes are landing in Beyene and supplying the Al-Shabaab, again vehemently denied. Why is everybody dragging Eritrea into this mess? And Eritrea doesn't even get a chance to speak for itself. Now they have to go all the way to the United Nations Security Council and answer for themselves. Folks, is this justified, or are they just getting a bad rap? Well, on the bench today is a man who knows a thing or two about fighting, folks. He's been in that war of liberation in Eritrea. He was there from the start. And yes, the Eritreans, when the Ethiopians moved in to get rid of Mengistu Haile Mariam, the Eritreans were helping them out. And then they fell out. Why? How? Does it make sense? They look like the same people, if you ask me. Good to see you. Are you in battle? Is that what they do? Because you have to tell this story to the audience. The latest reports that Eritrea was alleged planes landed in Beyene from Eritrea full of arms, ammunition, weapons for Al-Shabaab.
It was with the way I expected the meetings and the way I expected the content to be. Since I found it otherwise, it was like a lightning struck me. Of course, I was not happy, though I felt inside I have the truth, and I explained it to the minister that whatever he had, whatever the information he has, is totally baseless. It is a fabrication. The continuity of all these fabrications and allegations. So in time it will be found out that it is not true.
Did that anger you, Ambassador? Were you angry at that accusation?
I was not angry because if you have the truth inside, you must be able to be cool.
So what you're saying is no planes landed, or there were no planes from Eritrea with arms in Beyene supplying Al-Shabaab?
Yes, why should we arm Al-Shabaab? Not only we didn't send planes, but from the very beginning we have not armed Al-Shabaab. It's all false. Al-Shabaab is against us. They call us as what you call this a government that suppresses its Muslim population, a government that is not for its Muslim population. So we are a target. There were two press releases or statements from Al-Shabaab starting from their inception from 2006, and we have never ever armed Al-Shabaab. We are always for the peace and unity of Somalia, and we don't arm any group because we think that if a group is armed by one side, the others will be armed by other groups.
Correct. What about that report in one of the weekly newspapers several months ago that was very detailed, calling, and that's where the phrase "bad boy of the East" comes from, detailing that money from the diaspora making its way through Dubai, through Kenya, through your office. Remember, let's say your office, and then from there to Al-Shabaab.
I told you, Jeff, that this is my second assignment. I came to Nairobi in 1990. Representing my country, the then provisional government of Eritrea, and I had the chance to become the first ambassador of Eritrea to Kenya. I enjoyed my tenure here because it was very fruitful. I was able to establish with my Kenyan counterpart, with the government, a joint ministerial commission to lift these visa requirements and everything. And I left Kenya in 1997. Then when I was told to come back again this year in January, I was very happy because I was told your only task is to restore and promote the relationship between Eritrea and Kenya. And after a few weeks, I was accused of channeling money to Al-Shabaab, even by my car, including weapons and everything. I was not amazed with all these allegations that were going on, but I went to the government. I told them, here I am, Ambassador Beyene Russom. My movements, my meetings, my money transactions can be investigated because I came here for one job, just to promote our relationship to a higher level. Because the government didn't find anything, I was not accused by the government side, by the Kenyan side, as we were not accused, for example, by the Ugandan side when we were allegedly accused by the Ethiopians that we trained bombers to bomb Kampala. When we were also allegedly accused that we are destabilizing South Sudan by Ethiopians. So these allegations or these accusations don't come from the countries that we allegedly do some wrongs. It always originates from one country.
And so that one country, Ambassador, is Ethiopia. Your cousins. You all, I don't want to stereotype this, but ask any Kenyan to differentiate an average Eritrean and an average Ethiopian, and we can't. You guys liberated present Ethiopia from Mengistu Haile Mariam. You guys fought alongside Melesh and his people.
Well, we collaborated with the TPLF and other Ethiopian organizations to liberate ourselves in Ethiopia. We worked together. We had enjoyed very good relationship until 1998, until suddenly they invaded us. It was a terrible war, and many thousands of people, young Ethiopians and Eritreans died under the pretext of border conflict. They still don't regret it, but we regret it because it was for no cause. And soon after, there was this Algiers peace agreement. Truce was signed, and at the same time, Eritrean-Ethiopian Border Commission was established to find a solution for the border, and there was passed a verdict that delimitates and demarcates the border. We accepted the verdict because we have signed it to be final and binding. Whatever it is, we accept the final and binding verdict. We have signed it to be both of us, to be final and binding, but the Ethiopians still did not accept it. They never honored the verdict, and still their forces are inside Eritrea
to this day,
controlling a big chunk of territory, and they want the world to forget this, accusing us here and there. Well, in every part of the region. I was also afraid, I have been interviewed by one of the journalists in Kenya. I said, even it might go to Congo or Rwanda. If something happens there, then we are going to be accused. And suddenly now we are being accused in Somalia, intervening by giving arms to Al-Shabaab, bringing 3 planes in 2 days, unloading the arms, taken off, going safely back to Eritrea. A task which is very impossible, first and foremost, to be conducted by Eritrea.
And you say it's impossible because of what?
First, it is against our principle. Second, we have a big interest in the peace and stability of Kenya that we have enjoyed now for 22nd year. And thirdly, it is an operation that we cannot conduct because it's a highly militarized area. The offshore ships, the drones, and the radars and the satellite images can even trace a bird passing over from Eritrea, passing through the airspace of Djibouti, entering to the Red Sea, then the Indian Ocean, then coming to Baidoa, very far. Baidoa, it is nearer to Kenya, if you know the geography.
Yeah.
Then there must be the evidence. Okay?
Yeah.
If there is as they say, there is evidence, let them bring it. Because it is very easy to find the evidence. There are these satellite images who roam 24 hours, who have the pictures. There are these radars, and why should they let the planes land, unload, and go safely?
And yet, the only evidence they have, or whatever they were going by, they dragged you into their offices to accuse you. I mean, is our intelligence that poor, or are they just trying to tell you, hey, listen, Eritrea, you know, you got to toe the line, or get out of the way?
Well, I wouldn't say it that way. The Kenyans have the right to call me when they have this kind of information coming from anywhere. And as I told you, there was a very cordial discussion. The minister told me in a very right way, and he gave me the chance to explain my position. For about 30 minutes we talked, and then I left the office in a very diplomatic manner. I mean, there was no such a kind of shouting or something that displeases me.
Yeah. No. But okay, let me switch gears real quick and ask you, what do you think of Kenya's, they call it intervention, Kenya's move into Somalia? What do you think?
Let me tell you frankly, again, Eritrea has not been consulted as to why Kenyans are doing this. Well, they have the right not to consult us, but it would have been better for Eritrea to be consulted, because we think that we can be of help in the Somalia issue. We know the Somalis. The Italians occupied, colonized both Eritrea and Somalia. And since then we have sympathy to each other. They supported our independence during our revolution. Imagine our flag was waving during our revolution while we were struggling, while we were fighting against the Ethiopian occupation in Mogadishu. So there is this connection between Eritreans and Somalis, and we have always wanted peace and stability for the Somali people. We have sympathized. So we sympathy for the Somali situation, for the whole region, for the whole Somali people, not only for some area.
But you weren't consulted?
We were not consulted, yeah. But as I can see it, the Kenyans, I have told the Kenyans also that it is a problem which have been there piling on and on for 20 years. Yeah. So it has created a lot of problems to Kenyans, so much that finally these people started to abduct tourists and throwing bombs here and there. Yeah. And I think the Kenyans have the right to act in such manner as they did, but since we were not consulted, we don't know what the objective is, we don't know what the agenda is. But I have said time and again that war is not good, that we know the consequences, yes, the impact, the problems of war more than anybody else in the region, and we hope that it is for good. We hope that the Kenyans will come out from this war, creating peace and stability, including in Somalia. But the problem, Jeff, you know, it is more than 20 years.
Absolutely.
Not 20 years. Let me tell you. It started in 1988.
Ambassador, hold that thought, because you know this history of the region more than most people, and you know about war more than most people. And like you said, war is a terrible thing. Maybe some people don't know what they're getting into, and you know, be afraid, be careful what you wish for. Also, the long term, like, can this region be stabilized, or is it in some countries' interest to keep this region destabilized? We have to think about that, Ambassador, as we go to break. And also, this bad boy image. What did you say? You said it's bad no, what is it? Good people?
We're a bad example of good people.
Bad example.
Because we want to be masters of our own destiny.
Okay. Bad example of good people. Ambassador Beyene Russom says.
For whom?
Yes, for whom? Wow. It is getting hot on the bench, folks. We are discussing regional politics, in particular Somalia. The Eritreans are coming out guns blazing, saying, we weren't consulted. We know the Somalis more than anybody else in the region. How come nobody thought of calling them over? Think about that as we go into break. Do not even think of going away, because the bench is literally warming up. Back in a moment. And welcome back to Capital Talk. All this week, it's been all about